Kathy Brennan here, helping you to look better, feel better, and do better. Well, we're doing habits, and this week we're talking about the habit of being hopeful. Well, what does it mean to make a habit of being hopeful? It's having the habit of realizing there's always a solution, no matter how dire things look or how they haven't gone right in the past, or even if you don't see a solution, you know that, or you have hope that things will turn out okay. So there's a couple things we can do when challenges arise. We can be skeptical and focus purely on the problem. And believe me, I've done that a lot, where I focus on the problem only. Or we can be hopeful, which might seem sort of careless, like don't just sit there and hope. But being hopeful is not simply thinking, oh, $1 million is going to show up on my front step. Hopeful is having a belief and a feeling that good things are going to happen. A solution will show up, regardless of what's happened in the past. That doesn't mean you don't work on the problem. It doesn't mean you don't take action. It allows you to open your eyes to solutions that you might never see if you're simply focusing on the problem. Sometimes we're even hopeful for solutions that we just don't know at all. And that means you have faith that someone or something is going to help solve this problem, even though you have no idea what's going to go on. Now, let me tell you a story. My sister-in-law and I were cross-country skiing years ago. Oh gosh, 30 years ago. And she was pregnant, and we were cross-country skiing in the woods, beyond, way out in the middle of nowhere. No cell phones. There was nothing available then. And she was pregnant. Did I say that? And we were cross-country skiing, and the snow was very deep, and it was just a gorgeous day. But suddenly, her binding broke, and her boot didn't stay connected to her ski. And there was absolutely no way we could walk in that deep snow. It was so deep. And I'll never forget it. We stood there, and it was quiet, and it was snowing, and we just were both thinking. And we were both hoping. We both knew there was a solution, even though we could not see it. Now, she's brilliant, I would say, and she's an engineer. And all of a sudden she said, I know, I'm going to unlace my shoes. I'm going to tie my shoestring to the ski binding and then lace it through my shoes so she could stay connected to her ski. We got back safely. But we both were hanging on to, wait, there's a solution here. She didn't freak out and think, I'm pregnant, I'll die, I don't know what's going on. Because there's a problem, she knew that there was a solution, and she held on to that. So why is this a good habit to be hopeful? Well, when we're hopeful, we're open to solutions, and we're open to new ideas. We'll see them when they come up. Whereas if we are limited to what has happened in the past, or if we're limited to our own understanding, then we might not see a solution that is right there in front of us. So being hopeful means kind of being open to what might happen. When we're hopeful, it motivates us to action. So if I'm hopeful that I can take my college exam and pass it, if I'm thinking I can do this, it'll motivate me to study so I can take the exam. Even if I haven't studied up to that point, I'm hopeful that I can do well, and so it moves me to action and I do something. It also helps us when times get tough and we have failures. It gives us resilience. The hope gives us resilience. When I was depressed, I had First antidepressant didn't work. The second one didn't work. The third one worked for a while, and then it just dropped me like a hot potato. But I had hope that there was a solution. See, that third antidepressant showed me that there is some kind of solution. Maybe that isn't it, but I had hope there was a solution. And even though the fourth antidepressant didn't work and the fifth one did not work, I still had hope that there was a solution. And it led me to all kinds of other ways to treat my anxiety and depression that eventually helped me overcome it. And here's the truth. Why wouldn't we be hopeful? Because you and I, we don't know what's going to happen the next instant, the next day, the next month. So holding out hope keeps us from fretting and worrying and being in a bad, negative place. It keeps us in a positive, hopeful place. And that's just a better place to live. Even if something bad happens and it doesn't turn out like we expect, we still will not have spent all that time fretting and worrying. We will have spent that time in a hopeful state. It's just good for our health. So as we do this, we really need to watch our words. So someone I know is training for a marathon, and he described it as beating up his body for his 5 months of training. Well, when we tell ourselves, I'm beating up my body, we're not really giving ourselves a lot of chance to do well because we're at the starting line all beat up. As opposed to saying, I am getting in the best shape of my life and I'm going to be ready for that race. That's a more hopeful position. I'm getting in the best shape of my life. I'm going to be ready for that race. We have to watch our words, not just internally, but as we speak them too. We also need to watch our attitude. As you go into a meeting, what is your attitude, even if you expect that it's going to be a contentious meeting? What is your attitude as you walk into that? What is your attitude as you face changes? And this spring people will have their kids go off to college and they might become empty nesters. What is your attitude around that? Are you hopeful for the future? Or are you, it's going to be terrible and I'll miss them so much? And, we have to watch our attitude. It puts us in a better place. And also, watch who you spend time with. We become like the 5 people we spend the most time with. So if we are spending time with people who are severely skeptical and negative, we will become that way too. We will begin to think that way. So hang out with people who are hopeful and creative in their problem solving and positive about the future. So how do you create this habit? Well, exercise your hope muscle. This is practice I have started in the morning after I shut off my alarm. Before I open my eyes, I think of 3 things I'm hopeful for that day. I'm hopeful that I'll get this stuff done. I'm hopeful that my meeting with that person will go well. I'm hopeful that I'll be surprised and laugh or have something great happen. Just as many people practice gratitude and talk about or write down what they're grateful for the previous day, really good practice. Try the hopeful piece. Try in the morning, before you open your eyes, thinking about 3 things you're hopeful for. And see how that practice works. So practice it. That will help you build the habit. Also, like I said, hang out with hopeful people and positive people. Find them if you don't have them. That will help you create that habit. Focus on those things you're grateful for. And as you think of all these things that are grateful for, that'll put you in a place that leads to hope because you're thinking about the positive. And no matter how terrible things are, and I know some people who have had really, really terrible things, it is possible to look and find some things that you're grateful for. And I don't say that lightly. I just do not say that lightly. Just want to make sure everyone knows that. But as you focus on what you're grateful for, that will put you in a better position to practice that habit of being hopeful. Another thing that will kind of help this habit is to manage your stress. Whether that means you pray or meditate or exercise or eat right or think properly or practice your spiritual principles, all these things to manage your stress. When we're stressed, it's hard to be hopeful. We just get all tangled up in the worries and the problems. As we manage our stress, we can practice this habit of being hopeful. And the last one is difficult and can be done. Instead of thinking about all the stuff in the past that's happened when this problem comes up, because the problem showed up again, don't compare. Keep yourself open to new solutions, new ideas, new ways that this can be solved. And I think sometimes it's us showing up differently, us showing up in a hopeful or positive position. That's what makes the problems go away. That's what makes the solutions emerge, simply because we show up in a different way. So make a habit of being hopeful. Be well.